Hello and welcome to the University of Wisconsin River Falls 77th Student Association Student Senate Presidential Debate. I'm Al Denekar, the Elections Commissioner. Today's debate is filmed by Focus on You. We thank them for the use of their studio and crew. I will now hand it over to our moderator for the debate, Amanda White, the editor for the Student Voice.
Thank you, Alexander. Today's debate is for the University of Wisconsin River Falls student body to learn more about the candidates for Student Senate President. The candidates are Anthony Sumnicht and Nicholas Vanden. Some of these questions were given to the candidates prior to the debate, while other questions were not shared with the candidates or their aides. There will be 4 sections to this debate: 2-minute response questions, 30-second rapid response, questions from the audience, and 2-minute closing statements. Let's get started with 2-minute response questions. Through a coin toss, Nick will be going first. How do your skills and experiences make you the most qualified candidate for the position of Student Senate President?
Currently, I serve as the Student Senate Ethics Chair, which gives me lots of experience working with the internal workings of Senate, giving me lots of knowledge on how the Senate functions, how it works, and how our governing documents work. As well, I sit on the Legislative Affairs Committee, so it also gave me a lot of experience working with the administration, with outside government, and a lot of other things that you need to be president. And I feel that these key things will help me become a good president. And with that, I yield my time.
Anthony?
Thank you, Amanda. First, I would like to talk about my history at River Falls here a little bit. I came here as a freshman, as a food science major, and someone who wanted to run track. And within the UW system, River Falls was really my only option. So I chose to come here. And right away, I got involved with my hall council. I was the DSAC rep for Hathorne Hall, and I was very involved in that hall council. And then following that year, I was hired as a summer camp and conference assistant for the Department of Residence Life. And after that summer, I was hired as an RA for that year. Also in that year, I served as the Dining Services Advisory Committee Vice Chair. And the following summer, I was hired as an RA again, and I also managed the summer residence hall and also summer camps and conferences on campus. The year after that, I was the chair of the Dining Services Advisory Committee, and I worked on a number of programs that you see implemented this year. I worked on the Ready to Go program and also the transfers through retail. As the chair of the Dining Services Advisory Committee, I also worked with the Facilities and Fees Board as the Dining Services representative, where we reviewed all the non-allocable fees on our campus. After that position, I ran for Vice President of Student Senate, so that's where I am now. And after I was elected Vice President of Student Senate, I attended the UW System Student Representatives meeting, and there I was elected chair of the UW System Student Representatives. So in that position, I work with members of the Board of Regents, UW System, and every campus in the UW System on issues of student concern across the state. And I'm very in touch with students from across the system. I know issues on other campuses, so I would like to bring that knowledge and experience to our Senate. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick, the next question: do you find that the communication between Student Senate and the student body is effective? If not, how would you improve it?
I actually don't think that our communication is very effective. I think that we made some good strides this year. One of the things that we've done is we put a newspaper article in the Student Voice. But at the same point, I see a lot of students don't know what we do, they don't know who we are, and many of them don't even know who their senators are, excluding a lot of the senators' very close friends who happen to know that they go to the meetings. So I think that's one issue that needs to really be pushed in the next Senate, and which is something I would look to tackle in my presidency. What I'd like to do is I'd like to see, as well as keeping our agendas posted on OrgSync, I'd like to see them also on Facebook. I'd like to see links to them through Twitter and other social networking sites to increase our presence across the web. I also want to go back to a paper agenda posted at the desk of Student Senate. I think that would be a good thing to see. As well as I'd also like to see a Student Voice article not only saying what we did and why we did it, but also a dissenting opinion from another senator to give another viewpoint as to what's going on in Senate. I also firmly want to see student senators become more involved in campus activities, see student senators at a lot of on-campus events, try to at least put 1 or 2 there, helping out with the event, and to increase Senate's role and presence in essentially everyday students' life. Not essentially we're jumping in and running everything, but moreover the fact that Senate's there and they helped plan a lot of the events that we enjoy on campus. So with that, I yield my time.
Thank you, Nick. Tony?
One thing that I plan to do in my administration, and with the help of the new executive board, is to do fireside chats every week. So where we'd record in the Involvement Center an informational video about what's going on in Senate, issues coming up on campus, and also events on campus, informing students about Student Senate and other things on campus. And that will be posted weekly on our Student Senate page, and hopefully students will get a lot of information through that. But besides that, Senate really does need to get out into other organizations and other meetings on campus, including student meetings and also faculty Senate meetings. We really need to engage outside of our Senate in the future, and that will be a priority of our new Senate. And one of our #1 goals for our new Senate is to collaborate, not only with students, but also with faculty and administration. And when we get out there and we're talking to members of faculty, they're going to have a better impression of Senate, and they'll also start bringing up things about Senate in their classrooms. That happens on other campuses where student senates work closely with their faculty and administration, and I would like to see more of that on our campus.
Thank you, Tony. Nick, the next question is, the president has sustained contact with the University of Wisconsin Board of Regents and all of the UW system schools, as well as the UWRF faculty and the chancellor. How will you be able to communicate a clear message and develop that relationship?
One thing I would plan on doing is I would plan on attending every single UW System Student Reps meeting to effectively communicate with other presidents. I'd send emails to all the other presidents telling them what's going on. As regards to the chancellor and the faculty, I'd like to try to meet with the chancellor, if not at least once a week, at least once a month, to tell them what's going on in Senate, what's going on, and what the main student concerns are, to really bring student concerns to the faculty, to the staff, to the administration, just something I think that Senate could be doing a lot more effectively. To couple with that, I would like to see increased use of UW student reps to help get the ideas of River Falls to other campuses. I'd like to see other campuses using it as well, and would promote other campuses to use it so that River Falls can get solutions from other campuses to the problems that we're facing as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Tony?
I currently serve as the chair of the University of Wisconsin System Student Representative, so I already have those relationships developed with every single campus in the UW system. And I've attended a few Board of Regents meetings, and I've been talking to regents about issues of concern that students have across the whole system, not only at River Falls. And the University of Wisconsin River Falls student government has really been a leader within the whole UW system, and that's something I would really like to continue into next year. Other student governments within the UW system really look at our student government as a model for their student governments. Campuses are always asking about what we're doing at River Falls, and they've been implementing things we've done here on their campuses. And also, I think something's left out of this question. We really need to be communicating with our local members of the legislature here, and also the city of River Falls. They have a lot of policies and things that affect every student on campus, and the most effective way to make those changes is to communicate directly with those bodies. So that's something we will work on moving into the future, communicating with our Representative Dean Knudsen and also our State Senator Sheila Hardsdorf. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick, what is the #1 thing Student Senate hasn't done in the past that you want to see happen?
I think student engagement is the main thing. I think that we've put forward a couple small-scale programs to try and do it, and a couple, large ones. The public relations administrator was a good one, but I have yet to see essentially a lot of full follow-up with this, and I don't know if it's the lack of the students responding, but I think Senate needs to keep trying harder. We're the voice of the students. We represent the students, and when we go in and we vote on those resolutions, we are the students. And until students start to understand that we represent them and what we do, we can't effectively make decisions based off what they want. And you see the same thing with voter turnout. Our voter turnout is low, and I know it's high compared to other campuses, but it's still way too low for us to claim that we really fully represent the students. And I think that's one of the main things that I'd like to see fixed, and I think that we could fix that by, one, moving our meetings. I think we could put them somewhere where students could walk by and be like, hey, Senate's meeting. I'm a little concerned about something that's going on. As well as utilizing, there's a couple unique features now on Facebook, such as Facebook polls, where we could pose questions for students and help them get involved and see what the students fully think before we go into our meetings Tuesdays at 7 o'clock to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony?
One thing Student Senate has never focused on in the past is academics on our campus. And students do have avenues to affect academics on our campus, but we haven't been utilizing them. So one thing I did this year is, through the Student Shared Governance Modernization Act, we created an academic council that will be members of Student Senate and also students at large. And that committee will be working directly with Faculty Senate on issues of academic concerns. And students have not engaged in this discussion in the past, and we're all here for our academics, and that really needs to be the main focus. So moving forward, I want to see Student Senate really focus on our academic programming, including specific majors and also general education requirements on our campus. We really need to take a look at our general education requirements and make sure they're actually fulfilling the purpose that they were created for. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will move on to our second section, 30-second rapid response. Nick, how do you differ from your opponent?
I think I differ from the opponent. I think it can be seen by many things I did in my voting record. I believe that I push more towards trying to understand what the students want. As well as Tony has worked well to do a lot of stuff like that. I think a couple votes in our past have shown that maybe we're not fully going for the students. Other than that, I think that's about the main difference.
Thank you. Tony?
I feel like there's a big difference in between voicing your opinion and actually collaborating and actually doing something physical. What I've tried on Senate is actually collaborating with people in the administration, other students, other committees, to come up with the solutions and really benefit the student population from that. I feel if you're not actually going to be doing anything tangible that students can see, it doesn't matter if you voice your opinion or not, unless there's results.
Thank you. Nick, what are some basic principles that will guide your leadership with Student Senate?
The three main things that I want to accomplish as Student Senate President, and I will put forward as an agenda or policy preferences of Student Senate, are one, to not raise segregated fees unless they're absolutely necessary. That means if we vote to increase segregated fees, we vote because the department's about to go into the red and they don't have any other option. Two, increase student voice. Make sure that the students have a say in our Senate. And the third one is increase Senate involvement to make Senate a presence on campus that people enjoy.
Thank you, Nick. Tony?
Our campaign slogan is "Let's Start." So I think Student Senate needs to start collaborating with members of the student body, faculty, administration, and staff to help create an environment where we can see more efficiencies and improvements. Also, we need to start developing a tradition of Falcon Pride on our campus. We don't really see that on our campus, and that's something Student Senate and the student body really needs to invest in moving forward. And Student Senate should focus on the complete well-being of students, creating a well campus, focusing on safety, education, and sustainability.
Thank you. Now we will move on to our third section to let the audience ask a few questions. The candidates will have 1 minute and 30 seconds to respond. Does anyone in the audience have any questions?
Hi, my name is Dominic Riel. I'm currently an executive board member on the Student Senate. Some of the candidates had talked a little bit about segregated fees and tuition levels on our campus. I know right now on our campus we have very low segregated fees and tuition levels in comparison to other campuses in the UW system. You had talked about trying to maintain those fees that we currently have to make sure that we keep costs low for students unless we're looking at departments going into the red. I know currently a lot of our departments are very close, if not already operating in the red. How do you plan to address that issue if you are elected president next year?
Nick?
How I plan to, well, if they're going into the red and they have no other option, I'm fully in favor of raising the segregated fee to the 3% that the Board of Regents, I believe, the Chancellor says is okay. There are some things that we can't cut. there are some things that we need to keep on this campus if we intend to stay a competitive campus in the UW system and a good campus. However, there are some things where we don't necessarily need to keep them going, and there are some things that maybe perhaps we need to look into decreasing funding if they're not serving their purpose. So I see it as one of the main things that a lot of students come to me and say is that they came here, one, because it's a quality education, and two, because it was a good price for a quality education. And I hate to see that jeopardized. And I think our recruitment and retention would drop. So I think that if they didn't need the increase and they came to Senate, I think we would work to find a way to either help them out or we would vote no. I yield my time.
Thank you. Tony?
Student Senate has been really put in a hard place the last few years. By the time the budgets actually get to Senate, it's either we're put in a position where we can either cut services by not funding the budget, or we can fund them and continue the services we currently have. So Student Senate's put in a hard position, services or save money. I think Student Senate needs to work more collaboratively in the creation of the budgets before they actually get to Senate, because by the time the budget actually gets to Senate, we're not at a point where we can really address the issues of the level of services and the level of funding they need. There are things that should be able to be cut in budgets, but by the time it gets to Senate, it's too late. So Senate will work more collaboratively when we're actually developing budgets. And we changed the non-allocable fees review process next year, where Senate will be more involved in and more collaboratively involved in creation of the budgets. And I feel like that will benefit the budgets and all of campus moving to the future.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, my name is Stephen Middlemas. I'm the CBU representative. I have a question for the candidates. What would you do to increase awareness about budgets on campus and how fees have been rising? This year we approved every budget request increase, and do you think that's sustainable?
First off, athletics was not approved. Athletics has currently been postponed until this week's meeting. As per the increases, there were a couple that I did vote yes on. I felt that it was needed if we wanted to continue our services. But there were a couple that weren't. There were a couple where they had other sources of revenue that they could have generated. There were other things with them where they already held high reserve levels and other things like that that I don't think it was necessary to pass the money on to the students. To increase awareness of budgets, I would again move towards Facebook. We would post our agendas on Facebook. We'd encourage students to come to the meetings. We'd make them fully aware that what we're doing directly affects them. And so we would encourage student involvement in coming to our meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony?
First, I would like to address the second part of the question. There has been also a cut in state funding, so GPR funding, that has went to the majority of these budgets that Senate has decided to vote and recommending to the Chancellor for an increase. And the segregated fee side is the part that's received an increase. So even with some of these increases, we may be losing services still because of the lack of state funding to these budgets. Everybody knows the university's in a $1.7 million budget deficit caused by the state budget that we have. So even though Senate voted to increase these fees, it's not even clear that we'll even be able to be getting the same services we currently have with these increases. And our universities, we're bare bones right now. If we cut any more, we're not going to be being able to offer the services we need. As for awareness of these budgets, we really need students to be serving on these committees that actually are involved in creation of these budgets and the development of these budgets for this discussion. And having more students engaged in that discussion will help increase in awareness. And also, just general Senate awareness needs to increase, and that will help with that too. Thank you.
Thank you. Another question?
Hi, I'm Shelby. I'm a first-year representative on Student Senate this year, and I would like to address our retention rates. Our retention rates have been dropping the past few years, and this year we have one of the smallest freshman classes we've seen in a long time. What will you do to address this problem?
One thing that we look forward to do, especially with retention rates, is we need to get students out joining committees, joining clubs, and coming to our events. With the help of Student Senate, I want to push towards making sure that they see more advertisement, they see more promotion on campus. I think with that, we can get the kids out, we can get them meeting friends, we can get them understanding that, you know, we actually have a lot to offer here and a lot of fun opportunities. As well as, I think, also the problem with retention rates lies in the fact that our campus isn't very well known. A lot of people don't know about us. And so I think that if we can also expand recruitment, we'd see more students, and therefore we would suffer still loss of retention, but it wouldn't affect us as much because we're drawing larger amounts of students into the pool to begin with. And through that, I would task our new External Relations Committee to help promote our school with the aid of the Chancellor's Office and whoever else is in charge of that, to work to help promote our university in local high schools and areas around here.
Thank you. Tony?
As Student Senate President, you would also be serving on the University Strategic Planning Committee, and currently the university has hired a new Vice Chancellor for enrollment and student success, and with that committee, she's developing a strategic enrollment and retention plan for this university, and that's something the President, as a member of this committee, will be working on. Student Senate will not ever be able to solve retention and enrollment problems alone. That's not our purpose. That's not what we're intended to do. We're intended to be here to voice students' concern about retention and enrollment and work with administration to address those concerns. And I plan to work with the Vice Chancellor for enrollment and student success to help rework our university's website so we have a way to promote our university to the external community, but also rework it for students on the inside so our website is functional for students. And another thing we need to work on is also increasing our international student population. The university, one of our goals is being a global university, and we're doing great things with that, but when we're doing that, we have to make sure we're also serving those students. So Student Senate this year has decided to add an international senator position for our Senate next year, and to help serve the international population here.
Thank you. All right, we have one more question.
Hi there. My name's Chris Morgan, and I'm a current senator. I'm wondering, we recently spent a little over $20,000 for the rights to use OrgSync. Through polling, we've seen that it's been not utilized as much as it should have by the student body, and I'm wondering, what are your ideas to better get more out of that investment than what we're currently seeing?
I think one of the largest problems to do with OrgSync is, one, it's new, and it's essentially a totally separate social networking site that you have to opt onto. I think that OrgSync is beneficial. It allows organizations to post their minutes, their agendas, and what they stand for, and it also provides a shopping place for when you come here and you're looking for an organization to join, you can literally go through A to Z to find what organization you want to join. If we're going to utilize OrgSync, we need to see a further push towards using OrgSync from organizations. How we could do that is, one, we required that agendas and minutes be posted on there, and I think that if we allow OrgSync to become more of organization-centric thing, try to find new ways to utilize it so that people aren't using mainly just their Facebook groups. But at the same point, I think that maybe we should find ways to tie OrgSync into Facebook, into other things, to better work to get students to use OrgSync and to make it more friendly.
Thank you. Tony?
Over this year, a few senators and I have been working with the Office of Student Life on a new student involvement initiative from the Office of Student Life. And with that initiative, tonight, Senate will be discussing whether or not to add additional portals to OrgSync, because currently we're at about 200 organizations on OrgSync, and we only have 200 portals. We can't actually have any more organizations on OrgSync. So we want to expand OrgSync. We also want to add a service module feature onto OrgSync, so it will help us collaborate with outside organizations within the River Falls community and also the greater River Falls community in the cities. Through that, we will also be adding a card swipe system, and this will help every student on our campus track their extracurricular activities on campus. So say they go to a student life event like a peace talk in the University Center. When they get there, they'll swipe in, and they'll get credit for this event, and it will go on their involvement transcript. So when you leave the university, you'll be able to have this involvement transcript and actually show employers, I wasn't just a student that sat there and studied. I was engaged in our student population, and I had these learning experiences outside of my classroom that really make me a qualified candidate. And with these changes to OrgSync and the new initiative from Student Life, I feel like OrgSync will take off in the coming years on our campus.
Thank you. Thank you to the audience for participating with this debate. We will now move to our final section, 2-minute closing statements. Nick, you'll be going first.
As many of you are noticing, both of us were pretty good candidates. Our solutions to many of the issues that you brought up are both good, and a lot of them are very easy to implement. At the same point, I just would like to re-stress my ideas of why I'm running for president. One, I want to see no more increases of unnecessary segregated fees. Necessary for me would be if a department's going in the red and they have no other options other than an increase of segregated fees. The second is I believe that it's necessary to push for the students. I want to see our Senate making sure that we're a leader through a lot of the problems that the students are having at this current point, and that when we have problems facing budgets or other issues, there is a student voice being properly heard on Senate. And I also want to increase involvement in Senate and across the university. I want to see more students coming out, joining organizations, coming to our meetings, and through that, I believe through utilizing Facebook, more utilization of OrgSync, and other social media sites, I think that Student Senate can achieve a lot of these goals. And with that, I would like to yield my time to my opponent.
Thank you, Nick. Tony?
Next year, I'm planning on having a very actively engaged Senate with the student population. We will be out in the student population talking to students, finding out what their concerns are. But also, the president next year is going to assume a lot of responsibility that this current Senate put on the new Senate. Some things that we will be doing next year that's going to be the responsibility of Senate is we're going to be hosting a TEDx event on campus. And Student Senate has offered money to Student Life for this partnership, and we will be hosting this event, and Senate's going to be very engaged in that event. Also, we've created a town and gown association with the city, so starting that up and getting that up and running and developing that relationship with the city is going to be a high priority moving forward. And one of the biggest issues that is going to be facing this campus the next year is our Falcon Center. Planning for the Falcon Center is going to be moving full force next year, and we definitely need students involved in this to make sure it's a building that's built for students and it will work for students. With that, I don't think students should have to pay to use any of the facilities in there. It needs to be a student building. Students are already going to pay for it through their segregated fees. All the services there should be provided to students at no additional cost. Also, Student Senate created new allocable fee processes for sport clubs and student media, and we need to make sure those are overseen and allocable fees are allocated correctly through those processes. And with I said, with the expansion to OrgSync, Senate is going to be very engaged in our OrgSync expansion if Senate decides to move that direction tonight. And overseeing that and making sure it's actually going to work for students and making sure it's utilized for its intended purpose and promoted is going to be a big task for the upcoming Senate. And I would just like to thank Focus on You, the Student Voice, and the student audience for helping put on this debate today. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you both so much. This brings an end to this presidential debate, and we want to thank Focus on You again for the use of their studio and crew. I'm Amanda White, the editor for the Student Voice. Remember, polls for the election will be on OrgSync and open Tuesday, April 1st at 8 a.m., and it will close Thursday, April 3rd at 4 p.m. Thank you all for watching.